All right, hello, CUNA. We are going to be going over the Board of Ada County Commissioners public hearing, May 22nd, 2024. And interestingly, in this one, there is a denial, which is doesn't seem to happen very often. So let's take a look. Let's see if we can get there. This one is pretty short, 27 minutes or less, because it starts like at the 10-minute mark.
May 22nd. The time is 6:06 p.m. set for our public hearing. Commissioner Daly, Commissioner Davidson are present. Commissioner Beck is absent. Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, there are not.
All right, at this time we have some unfinished business on the table.
Mr. Chairman, I move to remove the unfinished business from the table for consideration.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. Unfinished business is application 202-301-909-ZC-DA-S-MSP and 200-600-071-DM PEG Companies. Zone change of approximately 10 acres of the property from general commercial district to the high-density residential R12 district. Development agreement modification, a preliminary plat for 6 lots, and a master site plan for mixed-use commercial and residential development. This property is generally located at the northwest corner of 5 Mile Road and Lockwood Drive and contains 11.24 acres. Section 3, T.2N, R.1E. Tabled from 1/16/2024. Now, at the previous meeting, we closed the public hearing, which means that we are no longer taking public testimony or additional submissions. The last step that we were at in this process was to, upon request of the parties, order a mediation between both sides to see if there could be any opportunities for compromise or meeting of the mind or anything like that with regard to amendment to this project. It was reported to us by our staff that the mediation was not successful. And so, that being said, it brings the matter before the board today on the essentially the amended application of the PEG companies. So with that, I think it is now before the board for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I guess just to kind of review and comment, and I'd like your comments as well, but we received from the Planning and Zoning Committee recommendations for denial. As you said, the board has had extensive discussion starting in January regarding this and multiple discussions from both sides. We did facilitate mediation. The board did facilitate mediation in an attempt to get some kind of agreement between the divergent parties. And it appears to me that based on my reviewing of the code, there are still multiple options available under the C-2 zoning for multiple options for so I would like your comment on that as well, in terms of your thinking on how you reviewed the record.
Well, I certainly was disappointed that the mediation was not successful. Essentially, I think the divide from the two parties is that the applicant is looking to build more of a high-density housing type of development on what is zoned commercial, and so they're asking for a variance on that. And the opposition from the neighborhood is that they don't want to change the zoning, that they want the commercial designation to remain in place with the ultimate goal of having a commercial development there that they support. And as we've gone back and forth in these hearings, we've tried to point out that this board can't dictate what goes in that property, that no matter what the zoning designation remains, if somebody chooses to develop within that zoning designation, they can put something there that might not necessarily be desired by the surrounding neighborhoods. So did hear back. I would say we've heard testimony that the neighbors are willing to take that option, where if this, I guess I would say what the testimony is that they would rather have it be a vacant lot than have even a mixed-use commercial residential with high density there. That I would say that boils down the vast majority of testimony from the neighborhood. Would you agree?
Yes, that they don't want any of the proposals that have been proposed in terms of commercial mixed use. The board has discussed mixed use. It's a matter of how much mixed use, which then would require a changing of the zoning code, which is what the request is. So it's a matter of which kind of development. And as you said, we are not in the business of dictating the kind of development. If it's zoned for development, then they can go through the normal processes of getting within the code. There are all sorts of options available under C2 commercial development code available for development that just requires staff approval, doesn't have to come to us necessarily.
I think we discussed that. We asked the staff, okay, under current zoning designation, what would be allowed? And obviously, it's a broad category. So, of course, there could be things that are developed under the current zoning, which wouldn't even necessarily come before the board. Again, that the neighborhood might not be supportive of. I mean, I think even self-storage was included in that C2 designation. And so, again, the position I think that the neighbors are putting themselves in is the gamble of, well, we can support this project, which is not something we want, or oppose it, and you can sort of gamble on the future of what potentially could be built on that intersection under the current C2 zoning designation.
Correct.
So that's, again, where this board is at to decide if we do want to grant the variance, change the zoning, and allow for largely residential with some mixed-use commercial. So again, the history on this, when it came before us the first time, I can't remember, I think there was no commercial on this project, or small amount. We did discuss that the neighborhood and the board would like to see the PEG come back with a plan that offered more commercial space, which they did. We had another public hearing. Essentially, the same people showed up to testify again in opposition, feeling that it was not enough commercial added to the original proposal to ease any of the original concerns.
Right, some of that was before my time, but yes, you're correct. This has been talked about by the board for multiple times. So,
well, again, we have their current proposal with the added commercial elements, the added mixed-use elements in front of us, and I think at this point the board could vote to either approve the project, deny the project, table it for more consideration. I think those are our three options before us right now.
are those the three options? Are there other options?
Those are all your three options.
Okay. So what's your inclination?
Well, again, I'm really disappointed that we couldn't bring the two sides together to find some kind of a compromise that both sides could have at least partially agreed to. I would say I'm leaning towards, again, after hearing the testimony, and again, this is the period of the year where elections happen. So I've been in the community amongst the voters a little more than I would throughout the year, and I'm hearing more opposition towards these high density projects, just as a sort of get out into the community, which does sort of lead me to feel that perhaps this might not be a right fit for this particular neighborhood.
This was the day after that they won the elections, because this was last Wednesday, and the elections were on the 21st. So this is on Tuesday.
I guess I'm kind of inclined that direction as well, because there are multiple options under the C2 zoning for development. It's not totally restrictive in terms of what options are available for development. It isn't totally closing off development. As you pointed out, the neighborhood understands, I think, clearly that what Z2 zoning allows, and as you said, some of the development that's available to them might not could just be approved without our even being involved in it.
In situations like this, I often wonder, when you have a large neighborhood of, I'd say, above average income, why not form some kind of a coalition of trust? That option is always there to form a group to raise capital, and purchase the land themselves. Again, that's the number one way to get what you want on a piece of land is to buy it yourself. When you come before the government and ask for certain things, again, there's very little guarantee about what the future could be, but that always is an option for people who want to have more say on what's built on land, is to certainly buy it themselves. Anyways, I don't know if you'd like to deliberate any further, or if you're thinking about making a motion.
Well, I think, yes, I would make a motion then and see if you agree with it. I would move to deny application 20230190 909 ZCDA SMSP and 2006-00071-DM paid companies based on the findings of fact and conclusions of law contained in the staff report, and move to table this application to what date would we have?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, it would be June 11th, open business meeting. And we do need the members of the audience to remain quiet.
Tabling
Chairman, Commissioners, that'd be June 11th.
June 11th. It's tabled because we have to make sure revise the findings of fact and conclusions of law before we can vote on them. And as was stated, there's no public comments right now, but so until June 11th, you said?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, that is an open business meeting on June 11th.
Thank you.
Would you like to speak to your motion at all?
The motion is I think, as already said, Planning and Zoning Committee recommended denial. The board discussed the application in the context of that, and in the context of additional mixed use. The mixed use that came forward is in this proposal. The board facilitated mediation in an attempt to facilitate a resolution beyond what was discussed before. There are multiple options available for development of property under the current zoning code. That's the basis of my reason for making the motion.
All right, I'll let me ask staff if Commissioner Daley's.
So this one was 118 dwelling units and 4 commercial buildings. I'm not sure if they changed it after, but this is the original right here, the original report.
Motion passes, then where does that leave this case, and what are the options available to both parties?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Daley, if the motion passes, the project will be tabled to June 11th to allow staff to revise findings of fact to support your motion of denial, so the project will be denied, and then the underlying zoning designation will remain C2, commercial zoning designation. The property could essentially be developed in accordance with the zoning code standards for that zone.
And are there any appeal rights from that determination?
Mr. Chairman, termination?
Appeal rights. If this motion is granted, as far as both parties go, is this the end of the road, or is there another stage that could be?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Daley, typically we've seen folks ask for reconsideration. That is an option in the code, and then there is the courts would be the next opportunity for appeal.
All right, well, I'm going to second your motion. Again, I don't like being put in a position to have to turn down projects, because I think overall we support commercial development and residential development as well. But after hearing a lot of public testimony, I think that this is not a project that would be a good fit for this neighborhood under the current proposal that's before us. So with that, I will go ahead and call the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, with that, the motion passes. Is there any other business before the board?
Okay, that's it. It's not. It's very rare that these. It's very rare that these get declined with Ada County, with the commissioners. But when they're requesting a variance, Ada County, they can give it. But yeah, this is not very common at all. So that's kind of why it's not related to CUNA, but it's just interesting because any sort of surrounding developments, it gives you a little bit of an idea. I didn't follow the original hearing. Looks like it was tabled from January 16th. And this is a gamble, right? So the C2 designation allows them to develop whatever is allowed under this designation, including storage units. So would you rather, as neighbors, would you rather be seeing storage units, or would you rather have it be, have more residential and then just the 4 commercial buildings? So you're kind of now at a gamble. The landowners now, they have a choice, I guess. Well, I think it's officially going to be done in the June hearing to revise the findings of facts for the denial here. So yeah, it's not always it's not always guaranteed. But if you are within the zoning and you aren't needing some kind of variance, like if this was already residential, zoned R5 or whatever R16 or something for high density, typically you just see, even though everybody would be complaining about it, typically you would see it approved. So, the question is, if you were on the surrounding thing, surrounding the site, do you prefer seeing a bunch of storage units or other residential? So, now, if the variance isn't granted and they don't contest it, it could just be developed as a complete, commercial site, having just a big old Walmart, in this space or something. Whatever C2 designation is. Actually, I might as well take a look and see what C2 allows. Okay, community shopping center. Okay. So yeah, I mean it could be like a strip mall. I'm not sure if Walmart, that's large scale. I'm not sure if Walmart would qualify. The purpose of the C2 district is to establish areas for community shoppings, so strip mall, and clustered commercial activities along arterial streets that provide for the sale of a full range of merchandise and services required of persons living within several neighborhood service areas as well as rural trade areas. So likely, I mean, you can see kind of here the kinds of stores nearby. Then another discussion of being Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, fast food. I would assume all of this area is C2 already, so I'm gonna pull that up as well. This is 5 Mile. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna take a look at it here. So yeah, it's this spot right here. If you're looking here at the intersection. Other corner here. So this area right here, interesting. You can see here's that public hearing notice. This is from June 2023. So I believe I think they said it was heard in January. So now, if you're these neighbors, right, and you didn't accept homes being there, and they said it's not going to be a vacant lot. It's no one. They're not going to keep it a vacant lot. So at least they would have had perhaps some control of it being other residential, maybe like those homes in the distance. But now they might just get a whole bunch of storage centers, or what you have. They'll get a beautiful view of the back of the trash area of like what these guys got here. So that's what they could get. You can see here the back of these buildings. Is it a much, which way would the stores be facing? Oh, this is Albertsons. I would assume this is all, now I have to go look at the zoning map. It could say that this is also C2, but sometimes they could also, change zoning in the middle. But anyway, you got Walgreens here, you got McDonald's. So, if you've ever, you driven to the backside where all the here's all the trash. So where are they going to put that? So, likely if you'll probably be facing your store your stores along Hazel Road and 5 Mile Road. And so the back, not so much Lockwood. I'm not sure. Yeah, Lockwood is not it doesn't look like it's that kind of street. So the butt end of this, I'm not sure if they're going to have entrances. They might have entrances here. So the butt end is going to be on this side with all of the dumpsters. And then the entryways likely would be along 5 Mile Road. So you would see kind of like similar, looks like what it would be zoned for is you see these kind of strip malls here. Actually, what's kind of cool is I think I might even be able to, okay, so you can see it here. Yeah, strip center. Nail salons, little, Papa Murphy's. I'm actually pretty hungry, so. All right, so yeah. Now, if I were these residents, I mean, they're not going to be able to keep it blank. That's the thing. And that's what Ryan Davidson, Commissioner Davidson was saying is that with C-2 designation, they don't need to go back to the board. They could put, I mean, if you wanted to like declare revenge, you set it up to be where the dump, because it's, also the smell, right? Now, technically, it's not supposed to smell, but sometimes with grease traps and all of those things, it does happen. And they won't need to. I'm sure there's some ordinances you can't have it be like really stinky. But now, instead of having a view of, I guess, other residents, instead what they might be getting is, let's get to that side. Here it is. The loading zone of all the inventory and all of the semi trucks. Yeah, I don't know if I mean the homeless. Yeah, you can see right here the dump trucks are right there. The dumpsters are right there. I don't know if maybe this is the day where they have to unload, where they have trash being taken out. So, or yeah, I'm not exactly sure how they have this set up because sometimes they have enclosures for the trash. And so that's how they get it out. Yeah, so we can't really see what it is on the other side of this fence here, but you can imagine these homes now, they're going to have their view on the other side of the fence or the road is just going to be a bunch of dumpsters. And here, looking at it from the sky view, I think these are those are dumpsters as well. So that's what happens. What is that? The devil is, I don't know. I forgot how that saying goes. Anyway, that's about it. Have a good one. Bye-bye.